Hey there, CPO here, and in this video we're going to go through the user programmable features of the Excalibur alarm and remote start system, and we're going to do it right now. In this video we're going to go through all of the user programmable features of the Excalibur 70 series alarm system with remote start. I'm going to go through a lot of information, but don't worry, it's all right here in this manual. And if you want to find the defaults, pop to the back of that manual. There's a table in here with defaults that will help you recognize what should already be set. Now we're going to ignore the installer programming because that's all pretty much done with vehicle learn mode that I showed you in a previous video. So all we really have to deal with are the user preferences, the way you want the system to respond in certain situations and how you want to interact with it. All right, so this is a timed operation, so you're gonna have to do things within a certain period of time. So I'm gonna walk through what I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna do it for each of the programmable features. So what you're gonna do is turn on the ignition, turn it off. Within 5 seconds, come up here, press your valet button 5 times. Then the siren and horn will chirp, letting you know you're in programming mode. Then you have 10 seconds to press the button for which programming feature you want. So if you want programming feature 1, you press 1. You want programming feature 13, you press it 13 times. And we're gonna go through that for each of our programming features. After you identify which programming feature you want, the siren and horn will chirp again, and then you change the feature by pressing the appropriate button on your transmitter. So what I recommend you do is, when you start this, go ahead and take your transmitter out of the ignition so you can easily get to these buttons. I'm gonna set you back there so that you can watch me go through this process, and then hopefully we can knock this out. Again, all of the defaults are found in the back of your manual. All right, so the first one I'm gonna do is the remote start time, and according to the manual, that's default at 10 minutes. Now, 10 minutes is a pretty good time, but if you find yourself constantly extending that time, then you might want to change it to something else. So your options are going to be 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and 30 minutes. I think I'm going to bump mine to 15 minutes. That'll give you a good idea of how this process is going to go. So for 15 minutes, what I'm going to do is press the trunk button to program it once I'm in programming mode. All right, so here you go. Here's the process. All right, on, off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now I want to do programming feature 1. Okay, and then I want to press the trunk button to set that feature. All right, now from here I can keep going, or if I wait, I think it's 10 seconds, it should time out and be out of programming mode. Let's see what happens. There we go. So we're out of programming mode. So if you already know in advance what you want to program, you can just keep going through the process, or if you want to stop each time and restart the process, you can. So now I've just set my runtime for remote start to 15 minutes. Easy enough. What's the next one? So for flashing light confirmations, you can say what options you want when the vehicle is unlocked and when remote start is on. So by default, when I unlock the vehicle or disarm it, the parking lights will flash, and when I'm in remote start, the parking lights will stay on solid. And again, all of this is detailed in the manual. So if you prefer your parking lights to flash when you're in remote start mode, then you can set that. I think I'm gonna leave that one alone. Let's go to confirmation chirp volume. So let's go to the confirmation chirp volume. The default is medium high, but if you find that that's a little bit loud, you can lower it, or if you find you want it louder, you can raise it. I think for me, it's just a little bit high, so I'm gonna drop it 1 level. I'm gonna drop it down to medium low. So for that, I'm gonna program that using the unlock button. So let me go in and program that. That's feature number 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And it confirmed 3. Now I'm gonna press the unlock. It confirmed that. And then I'm good to go. I can let it time out, or I can keep going. I'm gonna let it time out. Boom. So now my chirp should be a little bit quieter than it was before. So feature 4 is about your audible output, your horn and your siren. Now the default for this, because it has an alarm system and a siren, is steady siren. But there is an interesting feature called the random horn honk, which is a very unique sound when the alarm goes off. Normally when an alarm goes off in a parking lot, it's and maybe the alarm's going wee wee wee, you know, that kind of thing. And everybody's used to hearing that sound. But what happens when people are actually in a state of panic? They honk the horn a little bit more randomly, not so rhythmic like an alarm. So what this Excalibur system has is a random horn honk function that's designed to get people's attention. So I'm going to set that in a future video when I show you about triggering the alarm and what you can expect when the alarm is triggered and different ways it can be triggered. You'll definitely get a chance to hear that. But for now, I'm just going to program the setting. So that's feature number 4, and I'm going to set it by pressing the lock and unlock button together. Okay, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I'm going to program that by pressing those 2 buttons together. Now the horn actually chirped 5 times in because it's telling me I select setting number 5. Now it just timed out again. So that is one thing I forgot to add. So it will confirm to you which setting you have by chirping through the number of options. So even though they're not numbered in your manual, just know the first one is 1 all the way down to the last one. In this case, the one I just set was 5. All right, feature 5 is ignition controlled lock and unlock. So with this feature, you can set it so that when you turn on the ignition, it can automatically lock the doors, and when you turn off the ignition, it can automatically unlock the doors. That might be something that's important to you. So if it is, that's feature 5. Related to that is feature number 6, which can be programmed to cancel that automatic unlocking or locking of doors if your door is open with the ignition on. So in other words, if you have a door open when you start the vehicle, if this feature is enabled, it won't automatically lock the doors if you set that in feature 5. And conversely, if you have the ignition on and you open up your driver door, let's say, and then turn the vehicle off, it won't automatically unlock all the doors, again, if feature 5 is enabled. Because I'm not enabling feature 5, I'm going to leave this to off as well because I'm not using it. So we don't have a trunk in our Jeeps, so this really isn't a setting that I'm going to worry about. But feature number 7 allows you to set it if you want the trunk button to also unlock the vehicle and disarm the system. By default, that is on. Because we don't have a trunk, it doesn't actually do anything in the Jeeps. All right, feature number 8 is about remote start and basically what it takes to activate that. By default, it's 2 presses of the start button, but you can change that to be either 1, 2, 3, or 4 presses. I'm going to leave it at the default of 2. Feature number 9 is last door arming. Now, by default, this is off, but if you wanted to, you can set it so when you get out of the vehicle will automatically arm itself after the last door is shut. So how this works is when the feature's enabled and everybody gets out of the vehicle and the last door is shut, the alarm siren will chirp and then it will start a countdown of 30 seconds. If at any time a door is opened, it will pause that countdown. And then when you shut, again, the last door, the countdown will restart until a point where there's been no door activity for 30 seconds, the vehicle will automatically arm itself. Again, all the details of this found in your user's manual. All right, so feature 10 is automatic rearming, and this is a little bit more interesting. So automatic rearming will automatically rearm the alarm in cases where you accidentally unlock it. Say you accidentally press it in your pocket or it gets pressed in a purse. So if the alarm is disarmed from the remote, then the system will start a 90-second countdown and then will automatically rearm itself if the ignition key isn't turned on. Now there's an enhanced automatic rearming option. It does the same thing, but it also allows you to cancel that automatic rearming if you double press the unlock instead of a single press. So I'm not going to enable that on mine, but some of you may be interested in making sure that if you accidentally disarm the vehicle, it will automatically arm itself if there's no activity. All right, so feature number 11 is confirmation chirps. The default is siren only, but you can use it to set it for the horn only, the siren, the horn, and the siren. But it does not affect the output whenever the alarm is triggered or you issue panic mode. Both are going to go off regardless in those conditions. So feature number 12 is about anti-carjacking. So you can set it for ignition-based anti-carjacking, door-based, or ignition and door. Now we're going to talk about anti-carjacking in a later video. But this is where you would set that option. So feature 13 is actually one that you do want to set, and that is your secure code. So the secure code allows you to do an emergency override and basically disarm your vehicle. And it would also be required to disable anti-carjacking mode each time you use the vehicle if that option was enabled. And the secure code is unique in this particular installation because Omega has allowed for a 2-digit code. Most of them have a single-digit code. And by code, it's you press it once, you press it twice, you press it 3 times. In this case with the Excalibur, you can do 2 digits. So it gives you a lot more code options, which minimizes the chances of people being able to guess it easily. So I'm gonna set my code, and I'm not gonna tell you what it is. I'm gonna turn on the ignition, turn off the ignition, press the valet button 5 times to enter programming mode. Then I'm gonna press the valet button 13 times to go to that 13th feature setting. And then I'm actually gonna set the code using my lock button on the transmitter. So I'm gonna press the desired number for the first digit, and then I'm gonna pause, and then I'm gonna enter the second digit, and then I'm gonna pause. So what's gonna happen is each time I press it, it's gonna chirp, acknowledging the button press. So you have to wait for the chirp before you go to the next one. It should be pretty self-explanatory. And if you mess up, just go back to the valet button, press it 13 more times, and it'll start you back into that programming mode. And there we go, it's programmed. You didn't get my code, did you? So feature 14 is ignition activated override. What that means is if your alarm is triggered and within 10 seconds you come in, put a key in the ignition and turn it on, it will actually turn off your alarm for you. Now the key here is within 10 seconds of that, you have to press your override code that we just set in the previous step. So it basically allows you the opportunity to disarm the alarm system without the transmitter using just the key and the valet button. By default, that's off. I'm gonna leave it off on mine as well. All right, so feature 15 is a programming setting for how long you want the alarm to be active once triggered. The default is 30 seconds, but you can set it for 30, 60, 90, or 120 seconds. I think 30 seconds is just fine. I don't want to be that guy with the alarm system blaring in the parking lot for 2 minutes off of a false alarm. So feature 16 is the arming delay. By default, that's set at 3 seconds. So when you arm the system, you've got 3 seconds before it actually takes effect. It allows the vehicle to sort of settle a little bit. But you can change that to 15, 30, or 45 seconds. I'm gonna leave mine alone at 3. And the last one we're gonna do is feature 17, which I'm actually gonna set to on. It's off by default. And that is an open door warning upon arming. So when you arm the vehicle, if you have any of your doors opening, including the tailgate in the Jeep Wrangler, then it will alert you that you've got an open door. So you don't accidentally arm it thinking it's all locked up and it's not. So let's do that. Feature 17. Two, three, four, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And I'm going to press the lock button to set that to on, and then let it time out. And there we go. I've just programmed the user settings on my Excalibur alarm system. So hopefully that all made sense. It's pretty self-explanatory. You've got to go through it, at least look in the manual to see if the default settings are something you're agreeable with. If not, go in and change those things that you want to change. I would definitely go in and add a secure code. Also, and just keep in mind, even though I let the system time out between settings so that I could explain it to you, you can do all of those at once. So you just move through, get the confirmation chirp, and then go back to the valet button, pick which setting number you want next, and go through that. When you get a confirmation chirp, go back to the valet button and just keep going. But anyway, that's it. The next video, I'm gonna go into great detail on this little guy here, the controller, what you can expect by different button presses and combinations from this, what the vehicle's gonna do in response, and then what type of notification you're gonna get on this as well. So, and then after that, we're gonna go trigger the alarm. We're gonna set it off, we're gonna make some noise, and I'm gonna go try and find a desolate place to do that. But stay tuned, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.